Ryan Poles is officially on the hot seat. Let's talk about it, Bears fans. I haven't did a video uh in a while, um, because there's really nothing to talk about besides maybe Caleb Williams' development, which I'll do at the end of the year. So let's evaluate Mr. Ryan Poles. Folks, even though Ryan Poles has done a lot of good, you know, that goes with trading the number one overall pick, getting a haul, completely fleecing the Carolina Panthers, drafting Caleb Williams right now, knock on wood. Ryan Poles has done good. Don't get it twisted. He also the secondary is good. Tyreek Stevenson extended Jalen Johnson. Also drafted Jaquan Brisker. The secondary's fine. Same with the skill position players. The one thing that knocks Ryan Poles is the offensive line. And people want to give the 3-year evaluation. It's been 3 years and the offensive line still looks the same as he did first entered. You realistically only have one starter, and that is Darnell Wright. Outside of Darnell Wright, your offensive line is full of backups. And some of the starters, like Tevin Jenkins, can't stay healthy. The offensive line, from the better portion since you got here, has been terrible. And I saw this with Justin Fields. But people pinpointed to one person, and that was Justin Fields. Ryan Poles could have invested in the offensive line even before he drafted Caleb Williams. Poles could have invested a lot in the offensive line. He could have drafted a center in the 3rd round instead of drafting Kirion Armagaji, who was injured when you drafted him. Also, not to mention, I like Tory Taylor, but did we need to get him when you could have waited till the later rounds? Nobody was going to pick up Tory Taylor. You could have traded back, got a bunch of late round picks, and you could have used that to build the offensive line. And Ryan Poles, for the bitter portion, has not built the offensive line. All right. And that's why I was like, okay, trade back, get assets, address the offensive line. Because I always said this, if you don't build the trenches, it will not matter who your quarterback is. Everybody knows me. I've been on record in last offseason. We said, hey, we need to build the trenches and keep Justin Fields, and we'll evaluate him. And people came at me and be like, oh, you're some Justin lover. Listen, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is garbage. Could he be generational? Yes. He has not been the Bears' problem lately. He's far from the problem. The offensive line is terrible, and Ryan Poles is the common denominator in that. As a former offensive lineman, you should know that offensive line is very important in a quarterback's development. And that's a reason why he's on the hot seat. And number 2, that is doubling down on Matt Eberflus. Folks, I kid you not, and I've been on record for saying this for the longest, even before the whole quarterback civil war. I did not want Matt Eberflus as the head coach of this team. I wanted a guy like Jim Harbaugh or possibly Ben Johnson at the time. I wanted Eberflus gone, but Ryan Poles decided to keep him. And I know people have these conspiracy theories. At the end of the day, from what I heard, is the organization wanted to fire Matt Eberflus, but Ryan Poles went to war for Matt Eberflus. And that told me enough that Matt Eberflus was his guy. The first time, okay, people made the conspiracies that, oh, it was the McCaskies, oh, it was Bill Polian, fine. But Ryan Poles had the opportunity to move on from Matt Eberflus last offseason. He did it. He did not. He doubled down and he kept Eberflus for continuity and because he was relatively close. And the simple, and not to mention that Eberflus did not draft, has not drafted his own quarterback. Yeah, Ryan Poles can be in that process, but he doubled down and kept Eberflus. That's another reason why he's on the hot seat. Now, am I saying Poles, would I fire Ryan Poles right now? No, and I'll tell you why. There's nobody on the current market that I know of that I trust to come in and fix the problem. There is no current GM on the market that I know of that is going to come in and fix the issue at hand. And that is the only reason why I'm going to give Ryan Poles one more chance. But he's going to be on a very thin, paper thin leash. I want him to hit on the home run hire that everybody's talking about, which is Ben Johnson. And if you screw this up in one season, Ryan Poles, and I mean this, if this team for the better portion goes out there next year and wins the same amount of games, like wins 5 to 6 to 7 games, Ryan Poles should be fired. And listen, I already know fans are hating on the fact that Kevin Warren is now leading the charge. The same people that are saying Kevin Warren should not be doing the decisions are the same people that are upset at Ryan Poles' decisions on the team going forward. So my issue with you dumbasses is that if you have a problem with Ryan Poles, you want him gone, you criticized him for the better portion when he got here, and you get mad because Kevin Warren, a guy that has, as soon as, he has come in, he wants to build a winner. So if you want to bitch about Ryan Poles, fine. But don't make yourself look like a hypocrite when Kevin Warren is getting involved now for Ryan Poles' screw ups. And like I said, the same people that want Kevin Warren to stay out of it are the same people that criticize Ryan Poles' decisions. Like, what do you like? I don't mind Kevin Warren being a night owl over Ryan Poles, because you want to know why? I don't trust Ryan Poles to make the franchising move decisions. And I'm not talking about the Hall. I'm talking about hiring the right head coach and building the trenches, which Ryan Poles has failed to do. And not to mention his quote since getting here. And I see this. If I had $1 every time I see this post of Ryan Poles saying the statement, I would have enough money to buy YouTube to terminate the Ghost of Judah tribe. Every single Bears loss they always put on this clip of Ryan Poles saying, quote, "We're going to take the North and never give it back." Well, since then, Ryan Poles' record is 2-12 or 13. Someone give me the update. Ever since he said that statement, you've had a record of 3-14, 7-10, and possibly 4-13. Your statement since day one has been nothing but a meme lately, Poles. And I really do hope Ryan Poles takes a good look at himself in the mirror after this offseason and realizes the mess that he has created for this team. And I already know there's a cult. And I'm not in. Listen, I don't mean to call out names, but y'all got it. But this has to be said. Swifty, Jonas, whoever else wants to praise this Ryan Poles, you have to understand the position that Ryan Poles is in is done by himself. With the statement, "Take the North and never give it back." I've seen the Lions. The Lions were a joke for a very long time. And ever since Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have entered that facility, they've changed the franchise. They're literally a Super Bowl contender right now. And if you look at a team like the Minnesota Vikings, who we clown for the better portion, seem to look like they're getting shit right to possibly contend for the Super Bowl. Green Bay, Jordan Love sat for 4 years behind Aaron Rodgers. They look like a complete confident team. Ryan Poles is by far the worst general manager in the NFC North, and it's not even close. And the only reason why I wouldn't fire him is because there's no GM available after this year that I am convinced that can go in and fix the wrongs. But I'm giving him one last chance. And if he messes this up, and I'm not talking about, I'm tired of this rebuild shit. No. Next year better be the year Ryan Poles we see some W's. Because if we don't, I want Ryan Poles fired. And people can disagree with me. People are like, "Oh, you have to be patient. It's a year process." No, we want results as soon as next year, and that is fixing the offensive. First hiring Ben Johnson to be that should be the home run hire, and 2, build the offensive line and also build on the defensive side of the ball. You need to do that. I do not care if Ryan Poles has done a good job building the roster. At the end of the day, Ryan Poles put himself in a very terrible situation. And I have admitted, was Ryan Poles put in a very good position when he first got here? No. This team was in dead cap. We had old, aging, veteran players. And we basically didn't have any draft picks. But Ryan Poles put himself in this position because he did it to himself because of where the team is going. And I do trust Kevin Warren is going to make sure Ryan Poles does not sink alone, which he's been doing. So the only thing that we can do right now is hope and pray that they finally get it right. And I promise you, if we get Ben Johnson, if we address the offensive line, Caleb is going to look like a much different quarterback. I promise you. But let me know in the comment section down below, how do you all feel about Ryan Poles? I do want to hear your opinions. As always, thanks for watching, and bear down.